I would like to come to the next speaker. It's Koki Takaki, PhD. He is the administrator for exposure assessment and pollutant release and transfer registers at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. And yes, I see he's on the screen. The technique works. He's also involved in the exposure assessment of chemicals, for example, on emission scenario documents. And he will introduce a new project running under the OECD on the Occupational Bio-monitoring Project. And yes, we are looking forward to your talk. Welcome.
Yes. Hello. Thank you for introducing me. Yeah, I'm Koki Takaki, an administrator in OECD for exposure assessment. Now I'd like to introduce our project, the OECD project on occupational biomonitoring. So I will share my screen. Wait a moment, please. Yes. Can you see the screen? Okay.
It works.
So it's outline. Okay, thank you. And first, I will briefly go over what my EHS division is doing on sound chemical management. Then I will explain our project objective and overview. And at last, I will explain on the timelines. Now let's turn to the first part, overview of OECD's EHS program. We have 37 member countries. We're working with member countries, industries, NGOs, and other stakeholders to develop and coordinate activities on chemical safety and biosafety on an international basis. There are two main objectives. The first is to protect human health and the environment through improving chemical safety and biosafety. And the second is to save time and resources through making chemical control policies more transparent and efficient. The method we use to meet our objectives are harmonizing policies and instruments and sharing work and information among countries through the outputs that we have been developing. Some examples of our outputs are listed in the middle, that test guidelines and principles of good laboratory for harmonizing testing of chemicals, and portal sites for exchanging of information on chemicals such as nanomaterials, and a guidance document for hazard and exposure assessment, and so on. And the occupational biomonitoring stems from the hazard and exposure assessment of our program. And I am particularly responsible for the OECD activities on exposure assessment. These activities can be divided into three areas: estimation of release of chemicals, exposure to human and the environment, and exposure via product. Biomonitoring and occupational exposure are located in the second box. Biomonitoring is of relevance for several OECD member and partner countries as a measure of internal exposure or effect. It is especially efficient in assessing exposure from multiple routes, that is, inhalation, oral, and dermal exposure pathways. Also, biomonitoring requires little field equipment and can be an inexpensive method in monitoring workers' exposures compared to ambient air monitoring or dermal exposure monitoring. This is of global interest for workplace safety. And as mentioned before, OECD Occupational Bio-monitoring Project is being conducted as a collaboration between the Working Party on Exposure Assessment and the Working Party on Hazard Assessment in OECD. The experts from different areas have gathered and discussed, and that makes the project attractive. This project is launched about 1 year ago. There are two overall aims here. At the current moment in the world, different approaches to derive biomarker guidance or limit values in workers have been described, but no detailed guidance and only few examples are given. This can lead to largely different limit values for the same substance by various players under chemical legislation. This may lead to different protection levels for workers. This project will thus provide the needed guidance for deriving health-based human biomarker guidance or limit values and using biomonitoring in exposure assessment and risk management. This project is led by Switzerland, Finland, Belgium, and Germany, with working together with 38 institutes and organizations. The project aims have been divided into 7. I would first mention that we have defined together usable terminology for occupational biomonitoring limit values, that is highlighted OBL, occupational biomonitoring levels. The outcome is a practical guidance document with a more robust tiered OBL derivation approach and recommendation how to use OBL in biomonitoring programs. Moreover, this activity will identify data gaps and future research needs with regard to regulatory use of biomarker data. In some regulatory regimes, partially very limited data sets for many substances are existing. So also the option to derive provisional OBLs is needed to allow the use of biomonitoring in occupational settings. This option will be elaborated in parallel to the tiered OBL derivation approach. And these aims are addressed in 7 subgroups. In the subgroup, we have discussed, for example, about OBL derivation methodology with comparing existing methods and conducting case studies. We have discussed in another subgroup about provisional OBL derivation methodology for substance with limited dataset, with considering modeling approach. We have also addressed prioritization for relevant mode of actions, which should be covered by effect-based biomonitoring in another subgroup. At last, I will show you our timeline. This is a 3-year program, and 1 year has passed, so we will finish this project and set the guidance document after 2 years. The kickoff meeting was held on December 2019, and the second meeting is coming soon. We will discuss the progress of each subgroup and also discuss preliminary draft guidance. I hope this guidance will lead to an improved availability and quality of occupational biomonitoring, and I also hope this will lead to additional health protection for workers due to exposures of hazardous substance via inhalation and skin. If you'd like further information, don't hesitate to contact me. The email address is here. It's very easy to remember. It's my name, koki.takaki@oecd.org. And also, please look at our website and also subscribe our newsletter. Now we are developing a web page for introducing this occupational biomonitoring project in the OECD website. It is coming soon. Please check it when uploaded. So thank you for your listening.